So Jeremy, why did you decide to make the second CD?
That's a good question. Well, when I did my Christmas CD, I always knew that I wanted to do another CD. And when I began to sell the Christmas CD, the responses that I got back, I was moved a lot of times by the way that the music touched and affected people. And it's always been my passion to make music that makes a difference in people's lives, that God works through to touch people. And so the motivation to do the new CD increased. Of course, there was always the challenge of money and time, but since I released the Christmas CD, it's been 5 years, and I'm just about to release this new one. And as I continue to move forward, the energy or the synergy just continues to build, and the anticipation from the people waiting for it builds, and it's just really exciting to move forward. It's something that I've always wanted to do since I was a kid. This is my life's dream, and that's my motivation, is just to do what God put me on this earth to do and make this new CD. And I imagine there's going to be another one after this. I have no idea when, no dates or anything like that. Just some concepts for a few songs right at this point, which is the same thing I had for this CD when I was working on the Christmas CD. Just some basic concepts that developed over time. So I have some stuff on the back shelf waiting for when I finish this one, and then I'll get to that and hopefully start working on a new one that I'll release who knows when. Hello again. So today I'm going to answer the question, what is it like bringing in other musicians versus creating music just by myself? What are the pros and cons? So I think I'll start with talking about some of the pros. One is that I get a different perspective on the music or the piece that I'm working on versus just my own perspective. I also get to hear their ideas, the other musicians' ideas and creativity versus just my own. I get to form relationships with people that I otherwise might not be involved with, so that's neat. I get to hear performances from people and musical abilities from these people that sometimes are beyond my own abilities. Like, for example, Jean-Pierre Garau came in on my Light in the Storm album and played for a tune called Let God Arise, and his ability on the piano far exceeds my own. Did a masterful job on that. We'll talk a little more about that in a later video. My older brother Ben, he's come in and played electric guitar with me on some of my songs, and you know, he is, in my opinion, better at electric guitar than I am, and so it's nice to have his abilities to come in and play at times. And then there's other abilities that are beyond my own, like, for example, female vocals. There's no way I'm producing that on my own. So, I brought in Lisa White. And I'm also going to be bringing in a surprise female vocalist to sing on a song on the new album I'm working on. So those are some of the pros. And one of the other benefits of bringing in other musicians is that I get to create memories with people. And to me, that's so important in life, to form relationships and make memories with people, because then when you leave this earth, that's what they have left, and that's what you have left, and that's what really means something. So let's talk about some of the cons now. So some of the cons of bringing in musicians is recording by myself is much more convenient. Scheduling is usually very challenging and sometimes a nightmare, because you have my schedule that I have to coordinate, with all my work and ministry and everything I have going on, and my wife. I've got to coordinate my schedule with the artist's schedule, and they have their lives and families and everything they're involved in. And we have to coordinate those two schedules with the schedule of the studio. So you've got all these busy people trying to coordinate schedules for an event where you can do a recording. And you have to do that for rehearsals as well. And so that can be pretty challenging. Sometimes communicating my ideas to other musicians can be challenging. I'm not a formally trained musician. I don't read music. Everything I create by ear and natural talent. I haven't taken one guitar lesson. The same goes with drums or percussions, piano, bass guitar, keyboards, etc. I haven't taken any lessons for any of those instruments. So I'm basically completely self-taught by ear. And so I often have to demonstrate my ideas by briefly performing for other musicians basic ideas I'm wanting them to perform. Kind of a dun 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 dun.
Okay, so a little bit, not so much triplet, what?
Yeah. Okay, pause. So you're gonna go. When you hear that note, you're gonna go. Dum 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 dum.
All right, let's.
And for female vocalists, there's no way I can sing that high, so I can sing octaves lower, but sometimes they have a hard time figuring out what they're supposed to do. So one of the good tools that I can use to communicate notes for like female vocalists is to use the piano and just kind of play the notes I want them to sing, and that usually works pretty well. If I get you to sing this note, Lisa, an octave higher. Okay. Yeah, overall, working with other musicians has its rewards and its challenges, but I am happy to use them because of the benefits. And I feel the benefits far outweigh the challenges every time. So now that I've answered those questions, I think overall the experience of working with other musicians isn't something that you can just quickly answer. I think it's something that deserves going more in depth. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be using footage that I took from A Light in the Storm, as well as new footage that I am taking right now for musicians coming in. And I'm just going to let these musicians kind of talk about their experiences so that you're not just hearing from me all the time, but you can actually hear from them and take you into some studio footage and kind of let you see a little bit more of what that's really about. And so the next several episodes is going to be all about the extra musicians and hearing from them. So let's get to that. So as I begin to talk about these extra musicians, they're going to be in a particular order because I'm going to give you a little clue, a little look ahead of what's coming. All of this is eventually going to be leading up to the release of my new album. And so I'm going to start out with some of the older footage first, and then the newer footage. Honestly, some of it I haven't taken yet. I have yet to set appointments and rehearsals and recordings for extra musicians to finish some of this work for the new album. So as I'm getting those, I'll be creating more episodes to let you see the building of the new album. And that's kind of where this is going. So for starters, I want to start off with a friend named Dan Roberts. And he came in on my Christmas guitar piece album and played bass guitar on 4 songs. He played on the song Mary Did You Know, bass guitar, and he played on Hark the Herald Angels Sing, God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen, and O Little Town of Bethlehem. I actually needed him to come in and play bass because I did not have a bass guitar at that point in time. And unfortunately, that was so many years ago, before we had all these smartphones and everything, that I don't have video footage of him. So that'll be one of the very few that you won't be able to hear from. But I'll just talk briefly about him. I met him over at the youth center where I met my wife, and he used to play bass guitar for them. And so I asked him to come in on the project. And he and I also were in a band together for a couple of years with my older brother, Ben. And so we actually played together in a band and played for a couple of churches and whatnot. And So he was a welcome addition to that project, and he did a really good job. And just want to say thank you, Dan, for your work on that album. I still haven't forgotten it after all these years. So thank you. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed that episode. Real quick, just want to give you some information. If you are looking for these albums, you can find my music on iTunes or Amazon MP3. There's other websites they're available on, but those are the most prominent. You just go into their search engines, you type in Jeremie Heston. My first name is spelled Jeremie, and my last name is spelled Heston. So type those in the search engines and the album should come up and you can download them. They're not very expensive. Also, if you haven't been able to follow every episode of the video series, both season 1 and season 2 are going to be available on YouTube. And you just simply type in Jeremie Heston, My Journey Making Music. And then of course, whatever episode number you're looking for. So for example, Jeremie Heston, My Journey Making Music, episode 1. Type that in and you'll be able to find all of the episodes. Season 1 has 22 episodes, and season 2 I think is going to have 10 or 12 episodes. I'm not sure at this point, but I'll put a little video at the end of those episodes when I get to that. So anyway, thanks again for watching. Thank you for your support, and God bless you.